Hi, this is Tweek. On today's episode, we're going to make a beaded nightlight of a different sort. Hello, Dolly. Join us. Supplies you'll need for this project are beads, different colors, different sizes of your choice. You'll need some copper scrubbies. We'll use that for the hair. You'll need some beading wire, 0.018 in size, some 4-inch head pins, crimping beads, and assorted bead findings to decorate your nightlight. And to make it glow, you'll need a submersible LED light. So let's get started. I came up with this idea as I was playing around with the beaded dancers, the same type of skirt, but this one is big enough with a large enough bead to sit over a light. So when you turn her on, she glows. So let's get started with making a half cluster ball. I'm going to do this quickly. We have done several episodes now about beaded dancers, beaded elves, other things. And we start out with a half cluster, which means we need 20 beads. I'm using the 12mm beads, nice and big, and I need that size for a skirt on this doll that is big enough to cover up the light. And I'm going to whip right through this. If you'd like to see this in a slower mode, check out one of our links, and you can see how that's done, half cluster and full cluster. I'll show you how to do that. Today we're doing the half cluster. Now I'm going to get a goodly amount to get several feet because these bigger clusters, bigger beads take a little more wire, and it's easier for me in the end to have something to work with rather than having not enough to tie it off. So I've got several feet here, and here we go. 5 beads. 1, 2, 3. The half cluster goes much faster than the full cluster. So this should be just a couple of minutes of work. Okay, we got 5 beads. I'm going to try to buddy up the 2 ends because I want the 5 beads to be as close to the center as I can get them. Okay, then you take the wire and pull through. And this is going to create your first little cluster of 5 beads, like a pentagon. And you're going to have a right and left side on the wire. Again, I want to try to make it as even as possible. Right and left side. Whoops, and here we go. The next thing is a string of 4 beads on the right side wire. Let them meet. Bring the left side over and go through that last bead. On that set you just strung and pull it. And now you've got 2 little pentagons. I'm going to take this wire and buddy up where you came out, buddy up to the next bead. So you're going to have them connected. Okay. Now, I usually flip it around towards myself. There's a little bit of a concave starting left side, right side. 3 beads next on the right side. Let it meet. Bring the left side over, go through that last bead. Now we're going to take that wire that you just came out of and buddy up to the next bead. 3 beads on the right side, strung. Here we go. We've made the half cluster. That's going to be the base of her dress. Now let's decorate that a little bit. And I'm going to use blue beads today. So I already did a half cluster that's going to be the next piece, and then a full cluster I did will be basically her bodice. But before I do those pieces, I want to decorate with the same color beads around the base here. Okay, let's put some out. I'll take some more of the wire. This time I don't need as much, but I want enough to go around. That's good right there. Done with the wire for a bit. Okay, I'm going to choose a spot along the edge here. I usually try to get away from where the knot is, but pick a spot, come through, and now I'm just going to add one of these little decorative beads. I'm just going to sit there, string through the next bead, and that little bead there will be a decoration. Add another bead as you go. String a bead, add a bead. Because of the way these are angled, you get an angle on the decoration, which I really, really liked. So we got the beads going up and down. I'm going to flip over this way because I didn't give myself enough wire on that side. Look at the difference, just a little pop of color. Make sure you pull the wire taut each time. Okay. I know I've got one bead left. Now if I place this properly, if I make the tie behind the bead instead of in front of it, I'll show you what I'm trying to do here. Push the bead out a little bit and try to get the knot behind. See? Then you end up with the knot being more hidden. Give a couple of pulls with the pliers, make sure it's really tight. Okay, come in real close. We have just a little bit of pop of color going around. Pretty. Next step. So next we're going to start putting our little light together, our beaded light. And I'm going to put like a little piece, acts like the top of her skirt, then a bodice, then a head, and I'll add findings as I go. We want to put something here that will hold together the piece but not pull through, and that's a pretty goodly size spot there. So I use a finding, and I need to get some wire. I want enough wire that I can pull through. I probably got too much here, but that's all right. I like more than less. I want to be able to pull this through. So I'm going to add a bead on one side. I want a bead that's large enough so that it won't pull through. That one goes through. But at the same time, this here is going to act as a stopper. Let's do that. I've got a bead. Pull through the middle. See, that's going to act like a stopper to keep the whole thing from popping through. And then this one here, I'm going to string it like that. So it buddies up with that bead. And then when I push it through, it's going to stop. It's not going to pull through. See? That's good. That's exactly what I want. Now, there's a little bit of space between here and the next level. So I'm going to fill that, and I'm using an elongated bead to do that. If you didn't have an elongated bead, you could use a teardrop bead. If you didn't have one of those, you could just use a bigger bead, anything that complements what you're working on. So I have this elongated bead that fills the spot and adds a little bit of support. See how it kind of tucks in there? For the next level, which is a half cluster, the color that we're working with. See how easy that was? We've got that far. Next, we want to add, I would call it like a waist, something that shows she's got something decorative. Ooh, that would be kind of pretty. These are just old findings I had kicking around. You could call this like it acts as a belt. It acts as the top of the dress. What's nice about this one is I can bend it a little bit down if I want. Bend the edges down to fit the dress better. Just tucking them in. You don't have to do that, but I just like the looks of it better if they're just this is thin metal that I can just go ahead and manipulate a little bit. Now we put the bodice piece. Now here's the cluster ball I made, and I can't even tell where the yep, there it is. I try to find where the knot is, and I'll put that down. We're going to find a clear spot through this cluster bead, one side to the other. Sometimes you have to do one wire at a time because they go off kilter there. There we go. And see how that acts like a little decorative thing on her dress or skirt? This is a little bit flopsy, so I want to take care of that by adding another bead. I'll use one of these here and see how that works. I might have to find a bigger bead. A complementary bead to the color we're using, or you could use clear. And I just want it to sit there. See? And now what I'm going to do right now is add a crimp to hold it all tight. Because when I get to her head, I'm going to need a little more support. So I'm going to get a crimping bead. Okay. And push that through. It's going to lay on top of that little bead is not going to fall through, which is good. And I'm going to push down as hard as I can and pull up tight on the wire. So I want this all to be secure. And crimp the bead. I want these lights to stand on their own. And see? She's certainly doing that. That is good. What I want to do next is play around with like a collar. Her arms are going to go through the bodice piece. That's later. But right now, play around with the different findings you have. Let's see how this would look. Yeah, all my little Nightlight ladies are a little bit different. That I think is a little too heavy. I mean, she looks delicate. And I've got gold here, but I don't know if I want to mix up gold and silver. I think I want to stick with silver. It'd be kind of cool if I use the same thing as was on her belt. But I think I'm going to go, this has a little bit of a curve in it, so I think I'm going to go with this. Findings. These are findings off of old Christmas ornaments. Christmas garland. So we've got that. It looks like a little neck there. And to cradle the head, so I've got one of these wooden beads. That is your head. I'm going to put just a little finding that will help cradle that a little bit. Cradle that head, like to try to give her a bit of a neck. Here we go. All right. So now we're sticking with the silver here, and let's add her head. Just make sure her head's facing the right way. That's all you got to do. Ooh, she got a twisty head there. That far. Now what I want to do again is I want to crimp again, but I'm going to add another, see how that head kind of wobbles in the space there with the wire. So I'm going to add another little bead to help plug that up and to make her more stable. Give her a stable head. See, that kind of tucks into that spot. And here again, I will crimp. Okay. Now, if I didn't put this bead here and tried to crimp, that crimping bead would fall right through her head. So I put that there to help stabilize. And I'm going to pull tight on the wire. Push down and crimp. The whole idea is to make her stand on her own. And look at that. See, I don't want a wobbly head. That's what we have so far. Hey, you're turning out really great. The arms are my favorite, the 4-inch head pin. And we're going to take the pin, we're going to push through to make her arms. Push through the bodice. But first we have to add hands and some more beads to complement her dress. So we're going to stick with light blue. I need 5 or 6, maybe 7 beads on each side to get through. So let's see. Depends on the size hand you use. So here's just some findings I've got. Choose what hand you want. I've just got these little iridescent beads. Have a little bit of color in them, which I kind of like. And then I'm going to put a cuff on there. This is all pure decorative. How do you want this to look? You don't have to put cuffs if you don't want, but she's a fancy little lady. And I'm going to put a decorative cuff on her. So that's her hand. Now, let's fill her up with 7 beads. I think 6 beads are showing, but 1 kind of tucks into her bodice, so. And I'm going to push this through. I'm going to look at her head. See, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 showing, and I'm really pushing hard. These will not go through all the way. In fact, I might not have left enough. Let's take 1 off. Let's go back to 6. Okay, I've got 6 beads. I'm going to mimic on the other side. You definitely want enough wire left to make a little hook at the end to, put a stop to all the beads from falling off. So we've got it through. Let's go for 6. What's nice too is you could actually put something in her hand there in that hook if you wanted your little lady to be holding something, a gift or a charm. So that's what we've got so far. What's left? She needs hair. Now the hair is going to be made of a copper scrubby. Haha! We take the scrubby and you pull it apart. There's a side that looks like a donut hole. You just gently pull it apart, and then you use this how you want to use it. I was thinking too that I like this, but it doesn't seem, I want to doll it really a little light that really has some full hair. So I'm going to pull this out, turn it inside out, and now I can play. Rolling this down. This will all roll up back on itself. And right beneath the seam, I'm going to cut. Oof, little pieces everywhere. The copper fabric. See how it rolls back down on itself? That would be way too much hair. So I'm going to pull off some more. And just see, where do you think you want? I like right about there. That looks like enough. Another cut. More little pieces going everywhere. Okay, so here's what I've got. Just a little more. And it goes back into its circular shape. And so what I'm going to do is just play around with it. I'm going to find a spot, take this wire, and push it through. This is actually kind of fun because this stuff is very manipulative. So I'm going to go towards the back of this little circle and just push the wires through. If they don't go through the same spot, it's fine, because you just really want just to get it on there, to get a connection. Look at that's kind of cute right there. I don't like the back, but what I'm going to do is add one of these caps, the same one I used for her neck, and I'm going to put it on, and this helps to hold the hair more in place. As you start pushing down on it, you start getting an idea of how your lady, actually she looks very cute, how she's going to look. Would it be okay that she had a big old bald spot in the back? That's actually really, really cute, and she's different than the others. But let's finish her up. I'm going to add, where was that one piece I said would be pretty earlier? She's going to be kind of fancy. Let's see what happens when I add this piece. We're kind of creating her hat right now. Okay, so this circular piece will help hold it tight to her head, her hair. And then it's just decorative. What do you want on the top there? And I want too much because I want her head not to topple one way or the other with the weight. So I'm going to add probably one more finding. Yeah, this will do. And then I'm going to add a blue bead that matches her gown. The rest of her. Here comes that. The trick is when you have to crimp it because you can hold all this down. So, and a bead. So to me, that's what her little hat is going to look like. Well, she's got kind of a queenly look going. And after we get that on, we can play more with her hair. But let's get this on. So, crimping bead. Let's get another one out. Ah, perfect. Okay. Oh, the teeny tiny little beads. So, crimping bead, meeting down. Okay, it's got a crazy enough hat. Make it as crazy as you want. So I'm going to push really hard to secure that all together. Here we go. I'm pulling up tight on the wire and push down. Grab that crimping bead, push down as hard as I can push, and crimp it. Now everything can be manipulated. Her face can be turned. I'm going to snip off the extra because I'm done. This is when you get to have some fun fixing out her hair. I would kind of like it like the others. I just twist, bring it together in the back, but I kind of think of it as like a extravagant ponytail. Kind of a Rapunzel thing going here, don't you? If you don't like it, bring it up a little bit. I just got an idea. I'm going to curl this back into where that hole was. I just keep playing with it till I like it. I'm not a hairdresser, but this is actually looking pretty cute. Now, why do you keep turning your head? Is that just what you're going to do? Then you can angle her arms however you like. What do we need next? One of these LED submersible lights. Acts like a candle. She sits right over it. And then we turn her on. She stands on her own. She's not an ornament. She's definitely someplace to sit. Little night light. And what do you think? Want to see some of her friends? Here we go. See how they all have different hairdos, different little heads. This one reminded me of like a queen. And they look so pretty when they're lit up. This one here, this is an old candle holder. And I just put the light inside. So when I put the lady on top, she sits a little higher. You don't have to use something to have her sit there. But you get more reflection too. So when I start turning on these guys, these gals, what's your favorite color? These are so neat. You change the color. You can even make the colors change all on their own, which I just love. Or you can leave them clear, which is really pretty too. And there you have it. We've got our nightlight, and isn't she just so cute? You can make her whatever color you wish, and you can also change her colors so that she can also reflect whatever colors you wish to see. So if you like what you've seen here today, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you know when the next episode of Tweaks with Tweek is coming along. Until then, get out your beads, make yourself something extra special. See you again